Hello and welcome to the Lessons in Living podcast. I'm your host Sarah Vinder, and today we are going to be diving into the fashion and beauty industry, its impact on body and beauty standards, what's on the agenda to improve the industry, and everything in between. And to bring some expertise to the subject, I am excited to welcome Milli Midwood, who is the Editorial Director at Cosmopolitan Middle East, GRAZIA Middle East, and Out of Office, which are three major media brands. And most importantly, she is also my cousin.
Yay!
So thanks so much for coming on today, Milli.
Finally, we got a date in the diary.
I know, it's been too long.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in fashion, and what drove this decision to work in this industry?
I've been in the industry since I graduated uni. I grew up in Dubai. I've been here 32 years, and I did my first internship actually at the company that I'm now at when I was 19, 20 years old, in between first year and second year of uni. And I just knew as soon as I did the internship at my company that that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Growing up in Dubai, there was no regional magazine industry here. Everything was imported from abroad. So I never really grew up knowing that that was an industry that you could work in. And then when they launched, Cosmo Middle East and all the mags they had back then, and I interned at them, I was like, people get paid to do this for a living. People get paid to write about fashion and beauty and celebrities. And I was like to my mum, you never told me this. And I begged my parents to let me drop out of uni because I was like, I promise I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. I'll work really hard and be really good. They didn't let me drop out of uni. So I finished uni and then moved straight back to Dubai and have been working in the industry ever since.
Wow. What did the first bits of work look like in the Middle East? Like, because obviously it's quite a conservative country, and maybe historically things like beauty and that wasn't so prominent. Like, what sort of work were you doing?
Well, first of all, it was all print media back then. When I first started, we had no websites, there was no social media. I think we would post something on Facebook, that's it, like a picture. We wouldn't even have a call to action going back to a link back then because there was no website. We were very much behind the rest of the world. And I think also back then the Middle East hadn't really carved out its own niche yet in terms of fashion and beauty, so we followed a lot of what was trending internationally, and that's been one of the best things to see over the last 10-12 years is this region really come into its own, and especially in fashion, like it's really becoming a fashion capital. It is firmly on the map. And we're producing some amazing designers from this region, especially from, Lebanon and places like that. But so it's been great to be at the forefront of that. When I said I wanted to work in media, everyone said, well, why are you leaving London? Like, to go to Dubai, magazines aren't a thing there. Like, London's a fashion capital. London, Paris, New York, Milan. Everyone knew those were the four cities. And now Dubai is, in the running with the big dogs.
Yeah, because I would almost say that, like, when I think of Dubai, and I guess the Middle East, I think of like so much glamour, and even when I was first moving out here, I packed all my nicest stuff. I was like, I'm gonna need heels, I'm gonna need like all makeup, I'm gonna need everything, because like it's like central to glamour and beauty. So I definitely obviously haven't paid much attention to fashion really until my late 20s. You can look at my old Facebook profile pics for proof of that.
Please don't look at mine.
But I definitely see this, like, especially the Middle East, like UAE, Dubai, as like this glamorous.
And I think that is what it is kind of known for internationally, but there's a really cool street style scene here as well.
Yes.
There's a lot of kind of underground emerging designers that are coming to the forefront a little bit more, and there's that element of fashion and beauty really coming up now as well. But I think because it started as the big glamorous place with lots of money, that's what a lot of the Western perception is of this place. And for sure it does exist. No one is underdressed here ever. But we've got a nice mix now.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like my perception was obviously wrong, because now I spend most of my time in activewear, honestly.
Exactly.
But I feel like it's an exciting place to be, because there is actually so much change going on. Like, if you think about, is it Al Quoz?
Yeah, Al Quoz,
like that whole area is like exactly kind of what you explained, right? Like, it's
like the art scene.
Yeah, it's like an industrial area that's being changed into, like art
Yeah,
cinemas.
exactly. The warehouses are being converted into art galleries and fashion showrooms and things like that. It's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. So we just talked about the changes. Do you feel like the industry, since you've been working in it, has like gotten worse in terms of like the standards that it's setting in beauty in particular, not so much fashion, but like the beauty standards that the industry sets these days, like through social media and all that? Do you think it's getting worse or better? What are your thoughts?
For sure. I mean, it's sad to say, beauty standards, women have always been held to beauty standards, always. And I think that really came to prominence kind of back in the 90s when heroin chic was the trend. And you had people like Kate Moss and her very infamous quotes like, nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. And the trend back then was to be, skinny, skinny, skinny. We think of the beauty trends back then, which are now iconic, the really thin eyebrows and stuff like that. But now, since the advent of social media, because the everything that happened back in the 90s and the noughties, we would only really be exposed to those beauty standards and those beauty ideals through weekly tabloid magazines where they would try and put the most salacious and slanderous headlines on the cover to grab your attention. But because they were just a weekly magazine, it was quite easy to avoid if you didn't want to be in that world. And now, since the advent of social media, it's absolutely inescapable. We are constantly met with these images every time we pick up our phone, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Like, it's unavoidable. It is. And for that reason alone, I think that's why the beauty standards are, why it's got worse in the industry, because the pressure is never off.
Yeah. Do you see that in articles or content that you produce? Like, do you feel pressure that you have to also meet those standards in the work that you produce? Because I guess some of your work that you're doing is to beauty and fashion, and you've got to be at the top of that. So do you feel pressure?
Actually, no. I think when you're in a senior leadership position in editorial, it's kind of up to you to create the narrative. And certainly when I joined as editor-in-chief of Cosmo about 5.5 years ago, the first thing I did was ban any diet culture talk in any of our articles. Nothing about calories, nothing about, anything like that. And again, especially working on a brand like Cosmo, which is all about posterity, and you're writing for a younger generation, it's so important that we are not perpetuating those beauty standards, those unattainable beauty standards. I'm quite lucky in that I get to work for brands that are all about inclusivity, which is one of the things that drew me to it in the first place. But I think it's up to us, it's our duty as the media to be the ones that try and shape that narrative for young women.
Totally. And I feel like the world is at this place where it's really welcoming diversity and differences. I think about Edward, is it Inningfield?
Yeah.
The ex-editor-in-chief at Vogue. Inningfield.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved the stuff that he did because it was so, I don't know, different, bold. He was like, you're just reading a magazine that's not like the others. It was very innovative, and I feel like he was very successful in that role because he did that. So I feel like people are ready for that and are craving that kind of stuff.
For sure, when we're working on GRAZIA, where we do a lot of high fashion shoots and we work with a lot of luxury brands, when we're looking at talent for these shoots, whether they're models or influencers or celebrities, we try and find those people that have those quirky characteristics. We don't want another Kardashian-esque person. It's not interesting. It's not in terms of beauty. Like, we want to bring back that quirkiness and that individuality. Do you watch The White Lotus?
No, but I feel like I have through memes.
Yeah. Like, at the moment, everyone's talking about one of the actresses, Amy Lou Wood, from the most recent season because of her teeth.
Yes, I have seen that.
And she's become like a bit of a beauty icon because she's so openly talks about the fact that she's not going to get veneers like everyone else.
Yeah.
She's never had Botox, and she is not going to get it ever. And it's just the most refreshing thing to see. And I think she's come out so on top in that series because of her approach to individuality. I just love it. I love to see it. We want more of that.
Yeah, and Also, as a person, as a director, when you're casting, you want people to look different. You're casting real life people. You know, if everybody's going to look the same, then you're never going to get it. But it was the same with Pamela Anderson when she turned up to, was it Paris Fashion Week?
Obsessed with her. She has made a point of she doesn't wear a scrap of makeup on any red carpet she goes to. She goes completely barefaced. Same with Alicia Keys. And I just think for Pamela Anderson, someone who has literally made their name on their beauty and their body, to now go totally against the grain, obsessed, could not be more into it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's so great because she just gets like such great publicity from it, because it's really what people want to see. Like, nobody wants to, I mean, like, we want people to be happy. Like, if it makes you happy, do it. But it's nice to see people finding that confidence. It's so, like you say, refreshing. And like, for me personally, not in the industry, but like a consumer, and I guess like your target audience of who reads it and stuff, I just love it. Like, it's interesting, it's different, it's a new narrative, and it's like, yeah, this is what we're all about.
I know, exactly.
How do you find it personally when like working in the industry and like constantly being surrounded by beauty and glamour? Does it rub off on you? And
it's difficult. Like, I would be lying if I said it didn't faze me at all. For sure, I have plenty of bad days. I'm in a role where I am, if it's not online or on my screen or on a print page, it's at an event physically around me, surrounded by models, influencers. Everyone is just a 10 out of 10, stunning, amazing, immaculate. And sometimes I really have those moments where I'm like, I am disgusting. Like, I mean, every woman has those, but the comparison is hard. You have to make a really conscious effort and decision to steer yourself away from that. I mean, I've done quite a bit of therapy. She's got me into journaling. I think one of the things that I think of is a lot of these women who are having work done, and I also want to like preface this by saying I'm loath to say anything bad about something that makes women feel more empowered. Like, if you want to get some work done because you know it's going to make you more confident, power to you. Like, do what you've got to do. But where does it end? Because a lot of women get work done and then, then they've reached that new standard, but what's the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and they don't stop. And that's because maybe they weren't mentally fit for that in the first place. And I try and remind myself that if my physical health and my mental health are in the best state they can be, it really equips me to deal better with like those lower days where you do feel a bit like, oh, why don't I look like that?
Yeah, I bet that would be so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, if I reflect back on my life, there have definitely been pockets where I've been not obsessed, but you get consumed by it, and you're like, I want to buy new clothes, or I look like shit today, or, you spend more time putting on makeup, and you just go down this rabbit hole, and that's me, who I mostly play sport, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can imagine that's like a really big thing to struggle with. Do you talk about it at work at all with other people?
I write quite a lot about that kind of stuff in my editor's letters. They're kind of personal essays where it's almost like my journal being put out in a formal way. But it's funny because I think, I might look at you and be so jealous of you about something that you've got. But all the while you're looking at me, you're really jealous of something that I've got. So even though we're thinking, we might be comparing ourselves to these other women, they're also comparing themselves to other women. And I think we need to just focus on, what we're really proud of. And, when I'm doing my journaling, I remind myself that, I'm doing really well at work. I got a promotion last year. I bought my first property all by myself. I have total financial autonomy. And I think so much importance is placed on the way we look and not nearly enough on the other elements of our lives that are really fucking amazing that we've done for ourselves. So I think you've just got to, and you do have to remind yourself, because your brain has a negative bias and it wants to go to the negative all the time. So you've got to work to remind yourself that, like, you're amazing.
100%. That's why you got to journal.
Exactly.
I'm
into it.
Yeah, because that stuff actually grounds you big time when you're going down those rabbit holes of comparison, or you think you get consumed by something that's so not important, really, on the grand scheme of things.
Exactly. And I can't remember what the exact quote is, but you know, that phrase that something like looks will go, but you know, your assets, I guess, are forever. Like the things that you're building around you in your life, because you're not going to be young and beautiful forever. So stop worrying that much about how you look.
Yeah, 100%. But it was that easy though.
I know, it's so much easier said than done, but I also think verbalizing it, and you know, reminding each other of it does help.
Yeah. Once, like, not that this, like, I already regret starting this. But a guy once said to me, like, the most beautiful thing about a girl is a girl that's confident. Like, it matters more than looks. And obviously, guys can't tell you anything. But for me in that moment, I think I must have been a teenager when I heard that, so it was like very impressionable, but it stuck with me. And I'm like, yes, actually, if you think back to the Amy girl, right, she doesn't fit, this actress, she doesn't fit the beautiful, standard, normal image that we have when we think of beautiful people. Yeah. But she's beautiful in a way that of the confidence that she gives.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? And you almost follow somebody's lead by what they say, like, or how they behave, and that is beauty in itself. Do you know what I mean?
George might kill me for saying this, but
we can edit it out if we need to.
Or not. When we were first getting together, and you're in that like very honeymoon stage where you're, you know, throwing the compliments out like it's nobody's business. I remember one of the things he said to me was, I think it's so sexy that you're smart. And no one had ever said that, but it really was like something that drew him to me. And I thought, yes, I am. Yes, I might look like a troll some days, but I am smart.
Yeah, you are. And too right, George, too right.
Yeah, exactly.
When you've been putting forward these diversity, these inclusive articles and stuff like that throughout your career, have you ever had any pushback on anything? And if so, what was it?
Do you know what? Actually, I don't think ever.
Amazing.
The only thing really, which I touched on in one of my editor's letters probably about 6 months ago or so, was I wrote about people being dishonest in the work that they've had done. And I was specifically talking about Ozempic, but this actually goes for all aesthetics procedures or plastic surgeries, because like I said, I have no problem with women getting any work done that they want if it's going to make them more confident and feel empowered, but I can't bear it when people lie about it. And I think that's something that's really been brought on by people like the Kardashians. You know, someone like Kylie Jenner went years and years and years saying, I've never had any work done, and we were just supposed to believe that one day puberty hit and she just looked like that, and it raised the beauty standards so high. If that was actually true and that's what puberty did to her, she's raised the beauty standards to the most unattainable level, which is so dangerous. And all the people around us, Ozempic, you know, a lot of people know you can buy it over the counter here in Dubai.
That's weight loss pills, right?
The weight loss drug, it's actually for people with diabetes, but one of the side effects of it is loss of appetite. So it's basically been coined like the weight loss drug. And you can order it on WhatsApp from a pharmacy here. It's so readily available, and that means everyone is on it.
Really?
Certainly everyone in my industry is on it.
Really?
And again, it's had amazing effects for some people. Some people that have really battled with their weight, you know, have now hit their goals and what have you. But I can't bear it when people say, I haven't done anything. I think just own it, because it will make everyone feel better about themselves. I'm supposed to believe that you've gone, you know, you suddenly have the body of a Victoria's Secret model by doing nothing, when I'm at the gym 6 times a week, and you know, you've got people like in massive calorie deficits trying to get there, and actually it's because you've been injecting yourself with this thing, which is fine, but just own it, bro. Yeah,
I can't believe heaps of people are doing that. It's actually everywhere. Funny, I had someone on my podcast a couple episodes ago, and she was offered the weight loss pills to get healthy, because her doctor was like,
well, exactly, there is a health benefit of it.
But she didn't take them because, and maybe this is a difference in like countries where New Zealand is very not image driven, but she didn't take them because of the side effects or whatever. She was like, can't do that, so she took herself off to the gym. So I'm surprised to hear that so many people are.
Everyone, I mean, it's kind of become a running joke now at all the fashion dinners that we have, all these events in my industry, that the restaurants are being told now to not serve too much food because no one eats them.
Really?
But then on the flip, being on the reverse of it has also been really annoying, because I've this year made a really conscious effort to take health and wellness really seriously. Signed up to a bunch of like fitness competitions. I've really prioritized going to the gym in the morning and all that stuff. And I think I've lost in the last 6 months maybe 3 kilos, maybe 2.5 kilos. And the immediate reaction is, oh, how's that Ozempic treating you? And I just think, well, great, so what, we can't even like be healthy anymore because we're all just being accused of the same thing, because no one's telling the truth when they are taking it. And it's demotivating, honestly. It's a bit exhausting.
Yeah, that's actually shocking for me. I can't believe that. And it's really sad, actually, as well.
Yeah.
Again, it's that whole pressure of having to look a specific way.
Yes, exactly.
Of, taking these pills. Because from what I learned in this other episode, like, the side effects can be quite severe.
I know. And people who don't have diabetes that are all taking it, there hasn't been anything, this hasn't been going on long enough for there to be enough studies to see the long-term effects and ramifications. So we don't really know what it's doing long-term to the people who don't have diabetes.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wonder if what can you do to combat this?
I don't know.
Because it's so deep, right? Because it goes it goes way bigger.
And I just also annoys me because I've never been someone who has trained in the gym for aesthetics ever. I do it because it genuinely keeps me sane.
I saw you lifting those, that house on your back the other day.
See, I love that. It's just like the feeling of being strong is just the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And then if, you end up losing a bit of weight as a byproduct of lifting heavier, and people accuse you of Ozempic, they've immediately likened it to, oh, it's because you want to be skinny. And you think, that's literally never been why I've trained, actually. Just because people go to the gym, it doesn't mean we're all striving for this, like, homogenous body type.
Yeah, that's probably them, though, reflecting their own stuff that they have going on in their head on you. Yeah, projecting, thank you.
Yeah.
That's the right word.
That's the one.
Yeah, they're just projecting, aren't they?
Yeah.
So when you go out for these work dinners, which we are actually going to after, hence the get up.
I am getting changed out of my pajamas, I promise.
I'm jealous of your get up, honestly. But
this is the best thing about working in fashion, is I can go into work like this and no one blinks an eyelid.
You're just going, I mean, these are on trend at the moment, aren't they? Like
So
the
comfy.
co-ord with the...
I hope they never go out.
I know.
And even if they do, I don't care.
I'm keeping them in. They're going in every issue.
Every single one.
They're staying in. So when you're out at these work dinners, do you ever feel like self-conscious about what you eat? Because I actually like hung out with a bunch of girls the other day, and like I eat a lot because
Same.
I work out as well, like you. Like I'm hungry all the time.
Me too. All I think about is food.
Yeah, it's because your metabolism. We're getting strong.
Exactly.
We're making gains. But I'm like, I love to eat, and I'm not afraid to do it.
Yeah.
But in this group of girls, like I could tell, I felt really greedy next to them because they weren't eating.
I don't understand.
Do you get self-conscious? Because I don't feel like I get that self-conscious about that stuff. Like I own it. I'll be greedy. But I was like, this is like 10 minutes of just me eating.
I can see how you could get, or how someone could get self-conscious about that kind of thing. I think I like food far, far, far too much to ever care. And actually on Friday I was at a lunch event and I was sat opposite a woman who had been one of the people that called me out for, accused me of being on Ozempic about 2 or 3 weeks prior. And I almost went so hard the other way that I needed to stuff my face like a pregnant cow to prove to her that I was in fact not on any such drug. And I was so proud of myself of how much food I put away in front of her. And I think she was like mildly disturbed, but I was like, take that. I'm proud of how much food I can put away.
Read it and wait, baby.
Exactly.
Maybe you could do like, if eating is like a big thing in the industry, maybe you could do like, do you do recipes and stuff?
Yeah, we do, like everything's kind of those really short form, quick video recipes now. So we work with content creators to create stuff, which is quite fun.
Yeah, nice. And I suppose it's not really the readers that are necessarily on Ozempic, are they? It's like people working in the industry.
Yeah.
Gosh, crazy times, honestly. Let's go on to some more positive things,
Okay.
because I feel like
Food
we've just
is
been
positive.
slagging it off. What do you like about working in the industry? What are your favourite parts of it?
I love that it is so creative. I mean, creative in everything from I can literally rock up to work in pajamas and, you know, they're seen as super fashionable, to being surrounded by such creatives every day, because I am a creative, and you're exposed to so much inspiration all the time. And I would say social media, as much as it is such a hard place to be on sometimes, I get so much, you know, outfit inspiration, recipe info. I think also you can be smart about really curating your algorithm so that the things that you see on there are only things that bring you joy. And I mean, if you saw my list of muted people on Instagram, I only really watch people's stories or watch reels and videos and stuff of like, I love the wellness girlies. I love the ones that do the a day in the life and this is my morning routine, and the ones that lift really heavy in the gym that are just like on something that I think I can lift heavy on, and they have doubled the weight, and I just think that is goals. And my job is so entrenched in social media that it's hard for me to ever come off it. So I mean, when I have to be on it all the time, I want it to be a place that I love working in, so I've made it that. Would
you love to see one day like the magazine become your Instagram algorithm? Like, do you think that would ever be...
Oh, that is such a good question. I don't know if anyone would buy it.
I would.
That is quite interesting, actually. Maybe we should start doing like a new franchise on that, like a what's on your algorithm or something.
Yeah, like I would...
Are you looking for a job?
Go sign off with the boss over there.
Creative consultant? Lawrence. Yeah. She's got a new job, sorry.
I quit. No, but I would buy a magazine like that. If it was... I mean, I obviously know there are wellness magazines out there and stuff like that, but I don't know, I don't think that your algorithm, based on what I know of you, would be kind of that special. I feel like there'd be a lot of people who would have similar algorithms, and maybe it's a way to, I don't know, add more variety and diversity into what people read, especially young women.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you do you meet the readers at all, ever? Like, do you
all the time? We have so many Cosmo events on all the time. I mean, even tonight, this is one of 4 events kicking off that is open to our readers to come and book on. So yeah, all the time, which is good, because you get that actual real in-person feedback from people that will say, oh my god, I love that thing that you did. Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, because if you wanted to float some new content, you've basically got like a survey right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. Well, you know, I'll be looking. Just Millie's editor letter is just you with some fuck off weights.
I know, I should do something on that.
You could be lifting a house, and then that can be the start of it. And be like, what are you really capable of?
Yeah, exactly.
Some goal setting
more
stuff.
than you realize.
Yeah, more than you realize. Amen. I'm inspired. From your point of view, do you think that people working in the industry have the tools to navigate the pressures of working in fashion? Like I mentioned earlier, do you talk about it at work, like how the people that you're working with externally outside the company are very beauty and fashion focused? Like, I'm sure there are other employees that will feel the same that you feel, all that pressure.
Yeah, I think if you ever looked at my team on Cosmo, GRAZIA and Out of Office, they are the most like real, authentic, down-to-earth girls, which I feel if I was a reader, I would think is very reassuring, because the narrative of the brands and what's being posted in the media is being driven by real down-to-earth women. So I'm proud of the team, and I'm proud of the conversations that we have and the agendas that we set across the brands. And like I said earlier, it really is our duty, and it's up to us to do our due diligence on sending the right message.
Yeah, 100%. And do you think that, I mean, I'm sure you're going to say yes because you're the boss, but do you think that the message that you send out is a good one? Like, you'd think it's...
Most of the time.
Within your... Because obviously you've got to meet certain requirements.
Yeah, well, exactly. I would say most of the time, for sure. There are the odd occasions where, I don't know, we are working with a client who is specifically giving us or has chosen the talent that we want to work with, that we have to shoot or have to, work with at an event or whatever. Or when it's supplied adverts, we don't have control over if, someone shot Gigi Hadid as the global face of blah. So when it's kind of out of our control, it's out of our control, but we vet everything that comes in and it has to kind of live up to our standards. Would I like to see more diversity? Yeah, because that would then reflect more in the pages, but I think we do the best job that we can.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like like I really am an expert in this topic. I feel like you and Edward are like my only experience with editor-in-chiefs, but from you, what I see in that small bubble is most people in charge actually, like that's why they've gotten the job, right? Is because they're wanting to bring change, they're bringing a fresh lens. They're all the big all the big media companies, they're all hiring people that are doing something different. So the change is there, but it's interesting because then they'll hire these people, right? And they've got to work within these boundaries, even though maybe if the boundary was broken, it would be really beneficial, which is, potentially why they were hired in the first place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I think, people like to use the phrase print is dying, but I think it's not dying. I think some maybe are just being left behind a little bit. Yes, of course, there's the whole conversation about, well, everything's going digital. I'm talking aside from that. The brands that have really managed to stand the test of time, like what Edward Enninful did at British Vogue, was really inject so much diversity into those pages. And, in COVID, he put doctors and nurses from the NHS on the cover and things like that, things that people would never have expected for a brand like Vogue. And we try and, I guess, keep thinking forward with who we're positioning. I know we say brand and not magazine anymore. But the cover really is the biggest marketing vehicle that we have. And it's so important that who we're putting on that cover emphatically aligns with the message that we want to send our readers as Cosmo or GRAZIA.
Yeah, exactly. It's an exciting time. The world is changing, and in some ways, the UAE is very glamorous, and things like Dubai bling can be like quite, well, for me personally, glamorous. They're all very perfect and all very image driven. Whereas in other parts of the world, people that are now in the limelight, like your Amy's and stuff like that, people that are different. Do you know what I mean? It sounds savage.
I don't think it's savage. I think that the glamazons that you're talking about, there is certainly a place for them. Like the way that we talk about how our brands are positioned within our group specifically is because I used to be at Harper's Bazaar before I was at Cosmo. Harper's Bazaar is aspirational, it's fine jewelry, high jewelry, luxury couture. GRAZIA is acquisitional. It's, the maybe more mid-range brands that you can actually afford to buy and the trends that you would actually, maybe give the go for the first time and not really onboard them. And Cosmo is kind of mass and inclusive, which is, we appeal to everyone and no one's left behind. But I think there is a place for all of that, and that's why something like a Dubai Bling has done well, because there are people that are always going to resonate with that glamorous side of Dubai, and therefore media brands will exist to cater to that audience as well. And a lot of the countries in the GCC, we're in a hyper luxury market here, so those brands will always do well, but there are people that want, your Cosmos and your Dazed and your Complex and those other.
Yeah, totally. And then it's the same argument with the Kardashians, right? Like they're also kind of along the Dubai bling line where they're like living this very glamorous life. I know you don't like them.
I have made it very clear publicly and otherwise my feelings towards the Kardashians. I think you can't deny that they are absolute business moguls for sure, but I think what they have done for young women's mental health in terms of the body and the beauty standards they've set is, we need to do a whole other podcast on that because I can't talk about it enough.
Yeah, I think I feel like I'm in a good place where I have like a lot of self-confidence, so I mean, maybe I look at them with a different lens, but like I look at them and I mean, they're super impressive women, like there's no doubt. But I kind of look at them like it's sad, especially Chloe and Kylie, who I just am sad for them because I feel like because of the work that they've had done, I can see their insecurities. Do you know what I mean? I look at them and I'm like, there must be something inside them that's sad.
Yeah, I agree. And I just wish, especially someone like Kylie, because she has captured the eyes of so many young people, like as in tens of millions, and she still has denied ever getting anything done to her body. I think she only just came out 3 or 4 years ago saying, okay, I had lip fillers and I had my boobs done. And it's like, well, yeah, no shit. Like, your waist is tiny, your bum is huge, and you think that we are to believe that you've done nothing. Yeah. I don't think so, hun.
I know. But not to defend her, but that whole other side of it is like she is also young, you know, but like, you know, she's what, 20? Oh my God, she must be older now.
But you think with having so many, being surrounded by so many elder women, they would be guiding her on trying to be a bit more truthful. But it's just, so I think it's such a shame. Like when she was at the last Fashion Week, she stepped out at the Schiaparelli show and she was wearing this like really tight corset dress and her waist was tiny and it was corset, so her boobs were like up here and her bum was just like and so many people were posting it, like girls I know sharing it on their Instagram going, oh my God, Kylie Jenner, you are goals. And I thought, yeah, we would all look like that if we had millions of dollars though. Like, I don't look at that in any way, shape or form and think that is goals. I think, bloody hell, like, when are you going to stop? Like, what are we to expect next? Yeah, and that's kind of, that's sad because, like, for her, she's going to keep doing it because she's getting that positive... Yeah, the positive reinforcement, for sure. Man, where are my words today? The positive reinforcement person, thank you. It's my job. Thank you with your words. So she's obviously going to keep doing it because people are like going, goals, like, you know? It's like when you chase the likes, it's a similar sort of thing. Yeah, exactly. And I just feel bad for the girls that I know that share it, saying this woman's absolute goals, because I just think... There's more to life. There's more to life, and also you've got to remember that nothing about that is natural. Like, what you're saying to me is the goal is plastic surgery. Like, that is what I see that post to mean. Yeah, and how I see it is if that's what you're chasing, like, that is not gonna be what makes you happy. No. I lost a bunch of weight when I left America. I think I lost nearly 20 kgs. I lost a lot. And I became obsessed by my weight. I wasn't starving myself, but I was definitely watching when I was eating. I wouldn't have breakfast, I'd fast till 2, and then I'd go exercise. Like, you know, it wasn't necessarily that healthy. But I got down to like, I must have lost like 20 kgs, and I remember being like, you know, I looked really good. People were saying, like, my mum was calling me Sarah the Bod. I was like, yeah. But actually, when I got to this weight, I was like, I don't feel the reward that I thought that this was going to make me feel. I don't feel as good as how much pain I'm putting myself through, i.e. not eating, as we know I like to eat. Like, this isn't worth it. This isn't making me happy. And so, you know, when people are chasing looks and aesthetics, it's like, you're gonna, like you say, where's the limit? You're gonna get there. It's not that's not what makes you feel happy. And it's crazy because we never know the story behind why someone has lost weight, let's say. Yeah. Like, I had a similar thing, went through a breakup it's nearly 3 years ago now, and lost 10 kilos like that. I didn't mean to, it was quite unhealthy. I just had mad anxiety through that period and couldn't really stomach food. I was also going out all the time in my new single era, and I was fueling my body on alcohol. So I dropped 10 kilos. I don't want to know what was going on my insides, but the amount of people were like, all right, revenge body, like, you look good. And I thought, I don't feel good. Yeah. But all this external validation was coming in, which makes it really hard to not latch onto and want to, you know, run with. Yeah. And I gotta say, I get that. And one thing that I'm really grateful for, this is gonna sound so weird, but I was thinking about it today when I was thinking about this podcast episode. So I'm really glad I didn't grow up pretty,
because I feel like it would have been so much harder to not value the way I looked, because when you don't grow up pretty, like people aren't constantly being like, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so gorgeous, then you don't place that value on yourself. And actually, I feel like I've glowed up as I've gotten older. Oh, I'm giving myself the ick.
Reach it.
But I'm really glad for that, because I feel like the internal work that's happened for me has really set me up for that. Obviously, life's not perfect, and I'm not going around like, I don't give a shit about what I look like, and I don't have days where I'm like, you look like crap.
Yeah.
But it's like easier in those moments when you're journaling and you've got those reminders of what is actually going to make you happy in life. So yeah, that's my little spiel.
Love that. What an astute observation about
It's really
yourself.
weird, honestly. And I think, it's just a weird thing that I'm really grateful for, because I was never the center of attention, like at parties. I was never the girl that guys are going after, and that was fine, because what I had to lean on was my personality. I feel like I'm giving myself such the ick.
We're getting into it now.
We are, but no, I'm just grateful, because I feel like it makes me happier in the long term with how I feel with myself.
I mean, I've never thought about it that way at all, and you're kind of making my brain tick now, because obviously one of your questions earlier was, how do you stop yourself from comparing yourself to other people? Because the truth is, sometimes I don't really know. There seems to be some kind of innate thing in me whereby I don't let it affect me. And now you've said, that's why you think it's never affected you. I wonder if that's a similar thing, but it's something I need to know. That's something I'm going to sit with, because I've never thought about it like that before.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it does impact you. Oh, call to prayer.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I think it does. I think it does actually have a massive effect, because that's just not what people go to you for, and it's not something that you characteristically believe about yourself. So it's not ingrained that I have to. Who am I if I'm not the prettiest girl in the room?
I think that I think I probably had a similar subconscious thought in that respect. And one of the things it wasn't so much my personality I relied on. I just think I worked so hard at work, because that's almost where I was getting my external validation from, and even the internal was, feeling successful, being successful, rising through the ranks. And it made not being the best looking person okay, because I was like, but I'm doing so well at work.
Else.
Yeah.
It's funny, because actually those things really matter, because it's identity and getting to know yourself, I guess, and how you identify. Like it helps me a lot when I'm playing sport. Again, really random, but when I'm playing sport, if I'm doing really poorly at it, or I'm not feeling very confident, I'll be like, wow, whatever. Like, I'll beat all these people at tennis, so who cares? You know what I mean? But
Exactly.
I don't know. It really helps me not go into this anxiety or this anxious, or just feel badly about myself. And I guess it's a way of being like, actually, it's fine, you can have it, because I've got other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You just got to remind yourself of it.
Yeah, which, I'm just grateful for that, because I feel like life would be a lot harder. How as a society can we do better to support people putting themselves out there in the public eye? We talk about people feeling this pressure and getting work done, and then feeling the need to lie about what they're doing to look the way they are. What can we do? Because we talk about, a perfect example is Kylie Jenner, right? I mean, yes, she should be more honest and she could be doing better, but she's like that because of society and the media, what it says about her, and the way that people respond to her body and the way she looks. How can we change? I know it's that's such a big question, but what can we do?
That is, imagine if we had the answer to that, things would be so much different.
I know.
And I know for everything I've said about Kylie Jenner, I also cannot even imagine what it must be like to be on the other end, on the receiving end of having hundreds of millions of people constantly comment on your looks. So I can't comment on what's driven her to that, but I think as the viewer, from the viewer's side, we for sure need to be kinder. I mean, if anybody watching this or listening to this is trolling someone on social media, You need to have a long, hard look at yourself in the mirror, especially if it's about someone's appearance. I think also to keep positively reinforcing the things that we do like to see, like we said about the Amy Lou Wood, the individuality. Like, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. So let's just talk about the positives. Like, if all you're going to talk about this week in terms of beauty is Amy Lou Wood, great. Do it in the most positive way possible. And then I also think, like I said, just about being more honest. And I think that would create a safer space for women to feel like they could share what they have had done and that it's not something to be ashamed of. Because we certainly don't want to shame these women into not coming forward about their procedures. But they are being done everywhere, and they're so accessible in this region now. I mean, one drive down Alwastle Road and it's wall-to-wall plastic surgeries. So I think just giving people that safe space to say, okay, you've had, you know, your lips done, your nose done, your whatever. Cool, it's fine. No need to hide it and pretend.
Yeah, exactly. Own it and you'll feel better about it too.
Yeah.
It's interesting, like to think about what the thought process is behind somebody not being able to be honest about something like that, because obviously, I mean, if I think about it, they're obviously trying to pretend to be something that they're not. That must be hard in itself. Lying is exhausting. I feel like when I was a teenager, like 13, I was a constant liar. Like I just spun the biggest lies ever. Just a big attention seeker. I wasn't the pretty one, I was the liar.
Yeah. There you go, now you found out.
Yeah. But it was exhausting, you know, like, and then you just get caught out on it and it's like, yeah, now everyone hates me. And it's an even worse situation. And being honest is honestly so liberating. So do it. You never know. The truth will set you free.
Yeah. I always, one of my favourite quotes is, be the change you want to see in the world. So be the change you want to see in the world. You know?
Yeah. And celebrate the differences. And being kind is such a big one. Like social media and the internet, like I really like social media. Again, like I'm in a good space, so it's okay. But man, people can be so mean.
I know.
And, you know, people are just making random accounts and just going on there to troll. Like, come on, guys. What are you doing?
I know. How do you not have something better to do with your time than go and make someone feel bad about their appearance? Like,
or the lack of perspective. Like, imagine if somebody was doing that to you, or just to your mum, or to your brother, or to, like, whoever, someone you cared about. Can you imagine? Like, how can you not think that far?
Yeah,
You know?
Exactly.
I just don't get it. It's so, to be kind is so simple.
Yeah.
It is such a simple thing that you can do.
Costs nothing. Manners cost nothing.
Costs nothing. Sometimes it's better not to say anything. Like if
Yeah.
you can't say anything nice, just say nothing at all. Well, thank you so much for this chat. It's been awesome. I feel like I've shared some of my deep and dark secrets.
Oversharers.
Yeah.
Oopsie.
That's why we're related.
Sorry, George.
Yeah,
Sorry,
sorry,
Lawrence.
Lawrence.
Sorry, everyone.
Sorry, everyone. Sorry.
Just don't watch this.
Just, yeah. Actually,
Pretend we
we're
never
just
said
going to publish
anything. Just delete it.
No, thank you. It's been good, and I'm excited to see, you know, where you continue to go, because you've got a long career ahead of you, maybe.
I hope so.
No, you do, and you know, you've already made such a impact, and your views and the way that, like, the direction that you want the industry to go in is such an exciting direction. And
I hope that if I do ever fall down the rabbit hole of all this, that I have friends and family strong enough to be like, you're changing, like you're becoming what you said you wouldn't be. So
I think you will. Like, you've got some pretty strong-minded, like your sister will definitely.
yeah,
She'll do that to you for sure.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of people that start going down that path, I don't think they even realize how much it's, you know, consuming them. But
yeah, it's true, because you just go down it, and then, to be honest, like, I think probably from my expertise, one of the best things that you could do is have other things going on in your life.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's such a good way to remember what's important, is to have, like, loads of different interests.
I'm honestly way too busy to care about looking like shit.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
not.
Exactly.
It's really not my priority.
And if you have goals at the gym, like, that's going to be something that you're working towards, you know, whereas if everything is around beauty and fashion and your goals, then you're going to go down that way. So, like, having diversity in your life will keep everything in check, I'm sure. And journaling and therapy and your sister.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whipping me into shape.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you.
If you've made it this far through the podcast, thank you so much for listening. It means the world to me. Please do share this around, comment, like, subscribe. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're feeling up to it and you want to share your own story, please do reach out. Whether you're a friend or a stranger, I'd love to hear from you. Remember, sharing is caring, and you never know who you'll help with your own story. Thanks again, and see you on the next one.